everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining the classroom. And we have a great guest with us today, Dr. Kwangwon Lee. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. For those of you who may not know Dr. Lee, he's a biology professor. He is the founder of the MARC U STAR program, director of faculty equity, do so many things on campus, leading the Driving Change grant that we'll talk about in a little bit. Very involved, influential leader on campus. So I'm going to jump into a lot of different things, but thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
And if for anyone who may not know you, I did the kind of, the overview, but could you go into just a little bit more about, how you got started here at Rutgers Camden and the work you're doing right now?
Yeah, I joined Rutgers Camden 2009. Do I talk to you? Do I talk to
Oh,
Karen?
yeah, right here, right here, all good.
Yeah, so it's been 14, 15 years since I joined the Rutgers Camden. I really love students here. I found great faculty, want to help students very much, and staff trying to work together. So as you said, I'm biology faculty. So I've been working mostly biology program, undergraduate biology program. And then from last few years, I've been working with colleagues in other science departments and staff, trying to kind of expand our success story in biology program into other science programs. So now I'm involved, I'm working with colleagues in science departments.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you're part of a lot of really interesting initiatives right now. The Driving Change initiative, which you just received a grant for. Could you tell us a little bit about that? We just talked about it a bit off air, but really want to talk about this because it's a super interesting thing going on right now.
Yes. So 3 years ago, because I am director of the NIH funded undergraduate research program called MARC U STAR, and at the time, it was actually our first NIH training grant on campus. So Chancellor's office asked me to lead grant writing to HHMI. So HHMI stands for Howard Hughes Medical Institute. It is the largest funder, private, not federal funding. And I said no because the funding goal was changing culture, and I thought that was really ambitious goal, and I didn't want to do it by myself. So eventually I said yes, but from the beginning I knew it's not going to be just me doing all the work. It should be a community project. So we have 5 initial members. Now we have over 90 people get involved. So it's growing, but last 3 years, because of the pandemic, HHMI hold the program a year, but we've been keep going. We've been meeting every 3 weeks, every month. We did a lot of activities helping students, because there was so much goodwill. Everyone feel we need this. So whether we got funding or not, we're gonna just keep committed to do it.
Yeah.
And this is a way where I really find really joy, like working with like-minded faculty, staff, students together. And then last year, the HHMI, so we had made the first cut, they call finalist. There were 38 schools out of 99 schools applied.
For the grant, correct?
For the grant.
Got it.
But they run it very interestingly. They want us to have a community. So 38 schools competing for this $2.5 million, but we're supposed to work together, support each other. It's a very interesting concept, but it worked. Like, I really learned a lot, and I've been doing a lot of DI work before I know the definition of DI.
Yeah.
This is something that I felt this is good education for everyone. So who's against it, right? We want to have all students successful. So they gave us $60,000 to do the self-study. So It was a 1 year long study, find out where we stand in terms of this inclusive STEM education. And the result was really eye-opening, and there was a final 60-page report. It's posted in our website. We have our own homepage. But then it boiled down to 6 different things that we identify these barriers.
Everyone success.
Yeah, everyone experienced these barriers for success, but like we couldn't really have data, but now we have data, very high quality data. What need to be done, and based on that, we wrote a grant. This is what we want to do to remove these barriers for everyone can be successful. So one, this is a community project. A lot of people put input, and then this is to change the culture and the system. So far we had a lot of mindset. Our students, when they have a low GPA, we try to find what's your problem. Let's help you. But what we found is that it's not necessarily their problem. There are a lot of hidden obstacles that students cannot do well. So our goal will be removing those barriers, and we focus on those students who experience barriers, then everyone do well. So that is the goal of the Driving Change community.
That's incredible. And on those hidden obstacles, do you think, from the work that you're doing so far, do you think those obstacles are hidden to faculty and staff, or hidden to students, or hidden to everyone, and it's this thing going on, and you have to take a step back to really understand why students may have these barriers?
Right, that's a good question. So in fact, we identified faculty identified problems, staff identified problem, and then student identified problem, and there's a repeating theme. So and then there is a common area, and this is where the faculty sees a problem, this is where students sees a problem. So all above what you said. But we boil down to 3 key areas. And even that, actually there are 2. One, we need more faculty staff training. Basically, I become professor without being properly trained to teach class. I am trained as a researcher, and Rutgers being research university, we have really great minds, the faculty productive in research, but there's a lack of training how we can help students better, and actually understanding where they're coming from, because where they're the school district they went through may not offer science courses. And when we compare students from all different school districts, we think we are fair giving the same test, and we just grade them based on test. But like if you really dig into the student population, it's not the student is not smart enough. It's their first science class where other students enough exposure of science. So this is where we see barriers, how we kind of help students perform better in our courses. And we've been so far like pointing fingers to students' ability, but we want to really learn how to help them to be successful. That's a major difference. You mentioned about MARC program where it's more investing on students.
And the
but driving change is more of how we can do better. So that we are not just selecting best student and then help them move on. We should help everyone. We just train our student the best, not just looking for best student. They may be successful without our help. So that's the change of paradigm that I want to say any student come to Rutgers Camden will be successful. That is the goal.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about the way that the program is constructed is the inclusion of students in that conversation.
Yes.
And could you just share a little bit more just
Yeah.
about the, you know, you don't have to go into all the details of
Yeah.
how that
Yeah.
works, but
Yes.
just, you know, what was the inspiration behind including students in
Yes.
that conversation? Because I
Yeah.
think it's a really great thing.
I agree, and this is where, you know, I hope the student hearing, we really care student voice. So after that self-study published, we had 4 series of workshop, and we called it pathway workshops, and we did it 4 times because we want to make sure really chew on what we found and take actionable steps. And here's a story that one student, freshman biology major, we were discussing how we can remove these barriers, and she said, well, I'm from Camden School District. I never had AP Bio,
Mm-hmm.
but I found that my peers who came from high school that had AP Bio, general biology is easier for them. I'm struggling, and it's not fair. And can you provide kind of short, concise, self-paced course material available so we can go through it before semester begins and be on the same starting point?
Yeah,
Great idea.
great idea.
So we started, so this semester we are making 3, we call SPP, self-paced pre-course material, and we are giving stipend the instructor who making it, and then we want to make it high quality, so there is a team of faculty staff reviewing it. So there are 6 modules, and then we provide students welcoming remark, like short video from faculty, and then soft skills, how to set up a meeting with faculty, how to ask questions, how to write email, the soft skills, and it's a self-paced. And we're piloting 3 courses: general biology, active calculus, fundamental programming. So 3 science department. Our vision is make all science courses have SPP. So this could be, so some science courses is different than other humanity courses where you need a prerequisite. It is designed like, if you fail this, you cannot move on. This is to help students successful in elective courses. So it is crucial that you really invest early on, otherwise you drop out.
Mm-hmm.
So we are excited that now we have a funding. So the 3 courses were done with some money left from the $60,000 we received as a learning community grant. But we will learn how to make it better. But imagine that we have all science courses, this short abbreviated courses available to students, and they can access it throughout their time in Rutgers Camden. So that's one example how student voice really make a difference.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think of that. It was a student who presented it. We are jumping on it. This is one of the projects we were doing.
That's incredible, because that is kind of leads right into, you already touched on it a little bit, but my next question, and again, kind of based on the structure of how it is, it's also very collaborative. And that's one of the things that we've been hearing with different groups that we've brought on, that, you know, a lot of students, they want to get more involved with faculty and staff and have that support on both sides, whether they have something going on, whether, you know, there's a faculty initiative that wants to happen. The STEM Olympiads that just came on, their annual STEM Olympiad, you know, event, that's something that, you know, they get faculty support from and staff support from, and this is really, really great examples of just like cohesion. And my question, you know, you just gave an example there, but on a broader scale, even if it's not the Driving Change initiative, when you have that cohesion between staff and faculty and students, and these partnerships, they come, even if it's something, you know, that a student org is doing. How do you think that positively impacts once the student gets back into the classroom?
I think it's very important, and knowing our student population, we have more than 50% first generation college student, meaning that no one in their family before they come to campus told them what's expected and how to be successful. So I see this as like crucial, not optional, having this collaboration, right? And everyone, faculty, staff, student, should see tangible benefit, okay? So it's not just student, because everyone is busy. I'm just faculty. I know that there are a lot of time for doing research, advising research students, teaching class, other administrative work. So from faculty point of view, this collaboration bring them what they deserve, meaning this effort should be reflected in their promotion. Staff, there is a great interest and intention, but staff has their own perspective, and this collaboration also provide them flexibility of their work. This is a great radio show. I don't know if this was part of your job description or not, but I've been asking staff, because I've been working together, what would motivate you? How we reward your effort doing this incredibly important mission of campus, right? And we need to hear faculty, the staff's voice, and provide we need to reward them, right? If the campus really care to be beloved community, right?
Yeah,
so
reward is a part of that. That's
there's a clear expectation. You know, we are doing something, make the community beloved community, that should be reflected in promotion for faculty and staff. And students also, they need to see their contribution is eventually for their benefit. And they have, all three part has a vested interest here. Like, we want to make Rutgers Camden national example.
Yeah.
And student graduate, don't you want to proud to be graduate of Rutgers Camden? So we are all this together. You know, I really believe Rutgers Camden has a potential to become national model, how we can help students, all students, successful by collaborating together and then rewarding them properly, so that we are not asking their effort for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you cannot say, let's do this because it's the right thing to do. That's very naive. Like, we need a proper appreciation, acknowledgement, faculty, staff, and also students. One other thing, this collaboration is crucial because I've been helping students a lot. We are actually competing students' time.
Yeah.
So we offer many good things. Actually, eventually, student cannot do all of it. So it's very important that we work together, have really meaningful help, concisely, not replicating, and this way we can be more efficient. Everyone contribute, but exactly what they need is offered, not like competing their time, so they cannot do anything properly.
Gotcha. I have one more question, and then do a brief intermission, and then we'll do a couple more questions if that's all right
Sure.
with you. And so on the student side of it, and that reward, you were saying they need to know that this is going to be useful for them after graduation. You know, one of the things that really jumped out to me when I was looking into the MARC program, one of the alumni there, they said in the promotional video, they were like, the work that I'm doing with this research opportunity in the mentorship that I'm getting from professors, I believe that I'm going to be doing this work for the rest of my life, hopefully, you know? And would you say that having those experiential learning opportunities and that hands-on mentorship is part of the motivation that students could get when it comes to, for example, you know, okay, I have an exam in a day. Why should I care about that?
Yeah.
Why, you know what I mean? Is that all connected?
Yes. Again, that's a great question. And I think that the student success is really, my attitude has been that offer them what's available for them and help them to pursue what they choose to pursue. A lot of students, I'm just serving biology program, so as an example, coming to biology program thinking they're going to medical school, 80%. And in fact, they didn't know what other option they have. It was just because first gen and also other circumstances. What if you hate to be around blood? What if you scared of hearing somebody complaining their pain and so on? So I created a course exploring careers in biology. So the spirit is that I want them to know all options they have. There's a great deal of options, and by the end of semester, it's more of which one to choose, not like either pre-med or nothing. It's so important to our student population, and then having hands-on experience and second-hand experience, field trips, and actually the goal is not to hoard them in my program. The goal is for them to really explore different options and find their passion, find their interest. The good thing about Rutgers Camden is we are a research university. Our faculty there's a research faculty. I mentioned about ECB. The first semester, we offer them research shadowing. There are 17 labs open for them. They can be 1 to 4 hours for 2 months, just sitting in the lab meeting or just observing what's going on. So now our neighboring school, Cooper Medical School, opened their labs. Our student can shadow their labs. So again, this research is not just for those who want to become researcher, professional researcher. Research, you can think of it as a job training.
Yeah.
Any employer, you can Google it, what employers are looking for, and you have a characteristics, and all the characteristics you are trained when you get involved in research, interacting with faculty, working as a group,
being detail oriented, obviously,
verbal presentation, writing orientation, presentation, everything. So the best we can do for our students and our students get out of their life experience in college is get involved with the faculty, internship, we have so many opportunities. Being in Camden is really premium, and we have so many community need out there, and we are known for civic engagement. So I think the student, the worst thing student can do themselves is doing nothing. The best is just exploring different options, and the goal should be finding direction. What am I passionate about? What am I enjoying most? And then they can pursue, and it can change. The goal could shift. That's okay, but not having a goal is not okay. Okay, exploring different things and finding your passion through internship, MARC program, I help 5 different departments coming out similar kind of exploring careers in whatever major. So there are opportunities. There are Career Center is a great resource and underutilized. And I think, students think that career center is for the senior school students.
That's what
It's
I
not.
thought when I came in.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
Like I tell students, it takes time to build good resume. It takes time to build good career. So you might as well start from the first year.
Yeah.
And by the time you graduate, you have a great life experience and reflected in your resume.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And so I'm gonna run just one song, quick intermission, and then we'll do a couple more questions, and then we'll close out the show.
Okay, sure.
All right, stay tuned, guys. All right, we are back with Dr. Lee, and one of the things that I was just speaking to you about off air over the intermission, we were talking a little bit about motivation, student motivation to get engaged for the people who aren't, maybe they aren't part of a student organization, or they aren't out in front, they aren't, they don't have a key card that gets let into the student leaders lounge, right? How we can reach those better. And it's funny because I was actually one of those students when I first started. When I came here, I genuinely, it's funny because, it's just a quick aside, but I do think it's relevant. When I was making my choice between going to New Brunswick or Camden, one of the things that my family and I was talking about with them, they were like, well, if you go to the bigger school, you'll have more opportunities to get involved. And if you go there for the full 4 years and you live on campus, you'll make friends, you'll be able to get more plugged in. And at that time, I literally told myself, I was like, I'm going to go to the school that I'm going to commute to, I'm going to go, do my classes, and come home. And I was like, I'm not coming here with the intention to make any friends, get involved in any kind of way. I just go to class and I come home. And I did that for the first semester, and I very quickly, I was like, this is not working. And then once I started getting involved with some of the organizations, and then with the Center for Learning and Student Success, I felt so much more supported.
Right.
But I had to take that first step.
Right.
And so I guess my question to you would be, from a professor's perspective, do you see, because you have a larger data set than my personal experience, when people do even get involved, even if it's small scale. Like for me, I just started going to it was like a paint night that was happening every single week. When you just get more involved on campus, have you found that students that are a little bit more out in front just generally tend to feel more motivated?
Yes. And I think it is not yours and my opinion. Research show that when students get involved, it is money's worth. So right now, there is a national conversation going on. Is college education worth it? I mean, is it paying off? And I think it's a wrong question in my mind. College is not just job training center. College is more than that. So all the networking, making connections, I want to call it life experience.
Yeah.
Through college, it's just unreplaceable. That 4 years in your life before entering into real world, prepare yourself, think about the direction you want to go. This is an important point, that it's not about how fast you go, what direction you want to go.
Yeah.
And it takes time. You cannot just make that in one night. It takes a lot of reflection and learning from people from different backgrounds. And college provides that. You come here, college, and if you talk to the same friends grew up from kindergarten to high school, what benefit college will be? Zero. So the point is that life experience, you explore different perspective, and you meet different kind of people, do things that otherwise you wouldn't do. That is life enriching experience, and money cannot buy it.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned about this internship. We talked about internship. The point is, I also briefly mentioned about this shadowing. And through my professorship, there is a characteristic of motivated students. They keep searching, keep knocking doors. And again, when there is event, they're the one. Like I don't have to make advertisement. They jump on it. My task, the challenge has been how to draw out those who are not making that effort, right? So when you do it, when you get to know faculty, I do have experience in college that I still communicate with. Yeah, he and I exchanging texting. He's proud of my work and so on. This long kind of relationship is really priceless. And so in that perspective, it's so important that, you know, the first year class, I'm really begging students, please don't assume you know everything. College is not about coming here, taking class, getting good GPA. That's not college.
Yeah.
That could be just small portion of the college experience. There's a vast majority of real life enriching experience that missed out.
And I can attest to that, because even, you know, when I was studying for exams and I was you know, last semester there was a class that I thought I was going to fail, and I was like, what am I going to do? And then I started getting peer tutoring, and I went early in the semester and I applied myself. It was a stats 2 class, and I passed with an A. Or no, it was a B plus, but it's an A in my book because of that effort, right?
Yes.
But when I think about that experience, I don't think about the grade that I got. I think about the journey that, you know, and the support that I got, and I think about the fact that I didn't fail.
Right.
You know, and that to me is the success.
Yeah.
And I think that's a life experience in and of itself. And I think even we were talking about briefly, you know, how to draw out some of the students that aren't, you know, maybe they aren't the ones planning the events or different things like that. I think peer tutoring is actually a great, you know, you may not think about it this way because, you know, you just think I'm going for an assignment, but it's a very good indirect way to really draw other students in to other opportunities that are on campus, or even if it's just building out your learning network. I remember one of the most influential times for me, I had a course that I was in with a peer tutor. Her name was Pariti. She wasn't tutoring this course, but she's been a tutor for a very long time, and she knew this course well. And this was my first class with her. And after class, we would study together, and you would have thought that she's brilliant. You would have thought that she had already passed the class and was tutoring it already. But she helped me, sit me down, help me through, and just like a peer tutor would if it was an official session, walking me through, this is what you need to know, this is the foundational material, now repeat it back to me, can you explain it yourself? And through that experience, not only did I gain the conceptual knowledge to feel more confident in my exams, but I felt like I had a peer that I actually, you know, could trust. And she connected me to a lot of other things on campus. She was one of the main reasons that I got involved. The event that I mentioned that I started going to, she ran that event. And so I think that peer tutors and other peer mentors and the peer coaches that are in the success coach office, that peer mentorship could be a really good conduit to that as well.
I agree, and I think whatever. So I tried some different forms of the study group with the learning center, but I think the key message the students should really listen is that asking help, finding tutor is not sign of weakness. And there is a misconception that even a student needed a peer tutor. The reason is this: the way your peer tutor help you is exactly the point that many biology major students think that biology is just all memorization, and I disagree. And I mentioned this in one of the recitation class. You need to understand the concept, and you need a partner to check you whether you understood the concept. So there is a difference between memorizing stuff. You can do it by yourself, you think, but it will come out only one way, the way you memorize. You understood, you explain to other person, and the person validate I think you understood, or, oh, I think you misunderstood, you cannot do it by yourself. You
Yeah.
need a group, you need someone else checking whether did I understood it. So if you understood, usually test comes out not the way you memorize.
All the time.
Yeah.
All
So
the time.
that's a big difference. And
Yeah.
when I say understood the concept, not just memorized, students think that I'm playing words. I'm not. Like,
No.
this is why you need to seek out tutor, like someone who understand the concept ahead of you and validate whether you understood the concept by just not memorizing but explaining what you understood. That's really key factor to make a big difference. And there are students studying so many hours, but I think what's important is learn to how to study.
Yeah.
That's the key, and tutor can help that. It's not just how many hours you put in. Like, you need, I mean, this is a big transition from high school material to college material. That it's more of, as a professor, I want to know whether the student understood the concept, and there's a big difference.
Yeah. And I think also when you learn how to study and when you get a tutoring session, and more times than not, and I found this when I received tutoring, more times than not, I got more done in that hour than I would have
Yes.
in 2 or 3 hours by myself.
Exactly.
And we're all
yes.
everyone's crazy busy.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of students are commuters and they work full time or part time while being in school full time. So it's like that hour. If you can turn 3 hours into 1 hour, that's priceless.
Yes, I agree. So the thing is, how we bring attention of students who
Yeah.
really need help
Mm-hmm.
is just ongoing project for me.
Yep.
I mean, I will just dance, sing, whatever it requires, but if someone knows the secret, I'll buy the idea.
and we're kind of in the same boat because obviously it's something that we're passionate about. And so, from an academic support office side, from class, other support offices that you've seen going into the next semester, what is something that you would like to see emphasized more in terms of whether it's outreach or the kinds of services that we might provide? What's something from your perspective, because I've asked this to students but I haven't gotten a faculty perspective yet, if you're saying, next semester, if you guys started doing this or emphasize this part of your services more, you think students might really respond well to that?
Again, this is where, like, my perspective might be very different than students' perspective.
Yeah.
I think more than anything, this is the area that the faculty can collaborate with Learning Center and academic support. For example, like for all my courses, I record and make it available. I think it's important that students can go back, because I don't know about you, but I don't pay attention extended time, and it's
I
very
really struggled with that.
useful.
Yeah.
And then actually maybe just casual meeting with the faculty, hey, what your department can do for the student to be successful, because every discipline is different. There's no one thing. And so I mentioned about the SPP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So already we are learning, okay, we cannot make SPP for general biology from calculus, from foundational programming. Different disciplines require different skill set. Programming is not about how many facts, you need to practice.
Yeah.
Whereas biology is more of pack of concepts. Whereas calculus, again, we found, again, this is a good learning period right now, how we can make this most useful for students. So programming, you need to keep practice, how we motivate students. What could be their incentive doing it, right? You just do one time, you think you learned it, but actually you need a lot more practice to really get it.
Yeah.
So what is the incentive structure, student doing it, follow it up, so that in the real class they can shine?
Yeah, I think maybe something like, for example, the study hours that we were mentioning, maybe that's an opportunity to have the social aspect, but also be able to get that, interactive experience. Or I think what the Olympiads are doing is such a great example. Having, last semester they had that big, the crime scene. They had this, I don't know if you saw, it was a huge
Yeah,
thing on
I was
campus.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that gave students the chance to not have some fun, but also be able to actually apply what they've been learning. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they were practicing up until it, and I think it's interactive things like that that kind of touch all the different things, because I think one of the things that we've been hearing, when we're bringing people in, and I was talking specifically with Professor Sylvia Perez Cortez about this a couple weeks ago on the show. She mentioned just condensing all of the different opportunities and having a social aspect, but also having the learning aspect, having the networking aspect. So maybe it is creating more events that touch on all of those instead of being specific to one. We'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, and again, please, having faculty voice in that planning, and
Mhm.
I think you and I agree that there's a silo, and I think we need to have more conversation on how to help students, because the faculty perspective might be a little bit different than, because they're the one grading, right?
Yeah.
So the tutor might do their best, but it may not exactly what the faculty has in mind. And even chemistry, I know that there are many TAs, and I know instructor want to make sure that bring all tutors, the TAs together, make sure everyone aligned to what they say to students, instead of just wasting time.
Yeah.
For student may complain, I did everything TA said, but I still don't get good grade, what's going on? So again, we talk about it in the beginning, the collaboration is the key, that we need to really break that wall, somehow communicate with the goal, make students successful, graduate on time in 4 years.
I think driving change is a great example. It's a great first step. And last question here is just for your programs, for the driving change, for MARC, other things that you may have going on going into next semester. What are some things that you're looking forward to, or different ways you might be looking to expand or grow, or just what's exciting you about next semester with some of these initiatives?
Right. So again, I'm more focused on STEM programs. The MARC program was not just for biology students. It is open to all science majors, because it is promoting students pursuing biomedical research. And I hope to see more chemistry, physics, mathematics, computer science think about PhD career. So that's one aspect. Specifically driving change, we are going to have incentives with the training faculty staff. We have a great stipend when they get involved. There will be rewarding mechanism. And also I invite departments, if they're willing to change their whole program, not just course, but program, to be inclusive, make everyone successful. There will be incentives, and just talk to me. I'm eager to work with them. And for the rest of the community, and there are examples in other schools that I just want to make a success story in STEM, but watch us, how we do it, and it can impact other disciplines too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just do what I can do in the area that I was given to work on. But I care about all student success. It's not just STEM students, it's all student success is important. But we can learn, we can dialogue. I'm willing to talk anyone who has interest having inclusive education. That's basically, DI sounds really complicated, but we want all students successful. That's it. Who's gonna say no to that?
Right.
So we have resource now, and we have a great community to work together. I'm really hopeful. I'm just, I'm really excited. Rutgers Camden will become a good example how we can help students from underprivileged community. Camden is a great place.
It is. It is.
So we will make a success story.
We're headed in the right direction. We
Yes,
are.
yes.
One more thing, real quick. Talked about a lot of big, dense ideas, which is great. I love that. For the student who is looking at their exams right now, is preparing for finals, what would you like to say to them? To just what advice would you have to just finish out the semester strong? And there's a lot of exciting things we talked about, but just how do you get through this week? How do you get through next week? You know what I mean? How do we any advice to finish the semester strong for students?
I don't have a big wisdom that will work for everyone, but I just want to say, don't give up. And
Sometimes it's simple as that.
Yes, and don't give up. And one thing I learned is that there is a mindset, like the GPA doesn't reflect you. There are great ability in you that has not been discovered yet. So I hope, and again, our students have so much work to do outside of academia. I become more and more appreciating how challenging it is. In my college, I just have to study. That's it. So easy, so simple. I got good grade, but anyone can do that. So please, this is called growth mindset. Everyone can be successful. I really believe in that.
Yeah.
Please don't defeat yourself. And I say to the students that don't close the door when the door is not open yet. You are in the position to keep knocking doors, and door will open.
Yeah.
And don't close the door, just give up, and then you're closing door that is not open to you. That's not reasonable. That's not wise. So there will be, even if you fail, you can come back and then just retry. And then there's a great faculty staff who's really open to help. I just want to emphasize this. There are great faculty that I know. Every department want to help students. You just need to ask help.
Yeah.
There's staff want to help, ask help. That's a sign of maturity. That's not a sign of inferior ability. No, ask help. We have so many people trying to help you successful.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, our office, 231 in Armitage is always open. Even even if we don't have a tutor for you, we will get you connected with someone who can help, even if they don't have tutor on their name. Same for us.
Your work. I think you're really doing important work for campus.
And I appreciate yours, and it's important to have people who are passionate come together, and even if not for this show, we probably would have never crossed paths because I was a marketing major, and I was over in the business school. But this is why this is important.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for
you.
coming on. Thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate it. Definitely check out the YouTube page. We'll have the full episode. This will definitely be one you want to replay because there's a lot of great stuff that we talked about. And be sure to follow the RUC_Learning Center Instagram to stay up to date with everything we have going on. Is there any specific things that you want students to know, just to keep in touch with, anything involving any social media for the grants or anything like that, or think you're good?
I'm fine, but
Okay.
if any STEM majors frustrated or need help, just contact me. You can find my email, our website.
All right, and that'll do it for this week. Thank you guys so much. Be sure to tune in next week. We're going to be interviewing Zach Lomas, who is the program coordinator for the Office of Student Involvement. So we're going to continue this conversation about engagement and collaboration and how that relates to academic success and student success. So definitely tune in for that. And if you have not scheduled peer tutoring for this week or next week, and you know that you have that on your list, definitely download the Navigate app, schedule that peer tutoring as we close out the semester. And like Dr. Lee said, do not give up. You're almost there. And thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you again. And we will see you next week. Have a good one.